At high school, grads just don't cut it as professionals. When I enjoyed drinking, my self-proclaimed elite coworker, Mike, blurted out. He's always been the type to suck up to those above him but looks down on me, a high school grad, at every turn. As always, Mike was relentless, constantly putting me down. I'm gonna tell it to you straight today. You're not cut out for your current job. How long you gonna cling to the company as a mere high school grad? It's pitiful. I just silently endured Mike's words. Then, my friend said with a chuckle, "You don't know anything about him, do you?" and confronted Mike. Upon learning my true identity, Mike turned pale and was at a loss for words. "My name is Jack. I work in a technical role at a small yet somewhat well-known IT company. Ever since I was aware, I was physically larger and had a sharper look in my eyes like an eagle, perhaps strongly inheriting my father's genes. I had a rugged face, which meant I wasn't much adored by adults during my childhood. Due to my loneliness, I often caused trouble for adults, but my grandfather always used to say this to me. It might be hard for you, but that's why you should be kind to others. It will surely light up your path in life, Jack." Gradually, my grandfather's words sank into my heart, and I became someone who cared about others more than anyone. I couldn't ignore someone in trouble, and often ended up helping out. When a neighbor asked me to join in a soccer game because they were short on players, I'd happily join and chase the ball until dusk. And if my childhood friend's sister wanted me to play house, I'd join her in eating a bowl full of acorn rice, even if it meant getting strange looks from my classmates. My home wasn't exactly privileged, but my friends were kind, and their parents also looked out for me. Starting judo as soon as I entered middle school, I grew even bigger, and people started to look at me with fear as I walked down the street. But I didn't mind much because those around me continued to treat me the same. In fact, contrary to my appearance, I was known for being incredibly kind, and many younger students wanted to be like me. Just like my grandfather said, being kind to others always brings kindness back to you. With these thoughts as my support, I lived each day, but various circumstances prevented me from going to college. Though there were ups and downs, I managed to find a job and started my career. As a system engineer, I initially made many mistakes and faced daunting correction tasks, but with persistent guidance from my seniors and bosses, I finally managed to handle responsibilities independently in my third year. However, my happy days were about to come to an abrupt end. It was a clear, sunny day. As usual, I went to work and was checking emails before the morning meeting when I heard, "Hey everyone, gather around a bit early today." Lifting my face at the booming voice of my boss, the manager, I saw a man about my age standing next to him. That's right. I remember hearing last week that someone new was joining us. I joined my colleagues in a meeting room, waiting for the manager's words. "This is the new member I mentioned last week. Go ahead, introduce yourself." Prompted by the manager, he stepped forward. "Nice to meet you all. I'm Mike." Saying so, Mike bowed excessively politely. I previously worked at a larger system company than this one. Well, I must say, I was quite appreciated for my work there, but you know, I thought I wanted to try my hand at a more manageable place. While brushing up his bangs, Mike casually said something that rubbed us the wrong way. Amidst the awkward smiles of everyone, Mike turned to the manager and said something. "Manager, with me here, this company is insecure. The performance seems decent, but it's going to skyrocket now." Oh, that's reassuring. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Listening to their conversation, I felt an indescribable sense of disgust emanating from Mike, and that feeling turned out to be spot on. Mike looked sincere and seemed humble, but he hardly listened to others, focusing solely on making himself look good. He bragged endlessly about his outstanding graduation from a prestigious university, almost to the point of making others recoil. "Manager, if that's the case, this approach would be more efficient." "Yeah, but the client wants it within this budget, and the maintenance afterwards is too complicated. It would be troublesome if any issues arise." "I see. No wonder you're the manager, always thinking ahead. I'm really learning a lot. Thank you." Saying this, Mike was overly polite in his gratitude. He was good at flattering those above him or those he perceived as superior, but he was arrogantly dismissive towards those he deemed below him. At first, he was quite intimidated by my appearance and didn't interact much, But as soon as he found out I was a high school grad, he showed his true colors. Hey, you. Forget that. This comes first. But the deadline is approaching. Just finish it off any way you can. This is an order from a major listed company. The priority is different. Saying that, he left the design documents on my desk. Eek. So selfish. Sighing, I begrudgingly started working on the task Mike dumped on me. And it was even worse when deadlines were overlapped. Another time, he pushed the tedious task of purchasing supplies onto me, claiming it was too bothersome for him. Make sure you buy everything exactly as it's listed in this memo. If you mess up, I'm the one who will be complained. All right, thanks. As he briskly left the office, waving his right hand, I couldn't help but feel irritated. While I was fuming, my boss came over. Working hard. How's it going with Mike? I was caught off guard by the sudden mention of his name but managed to respond. Yeah, well, you know, he's a bit too full of himself. But as expected from an elite, his work is up to par. The system modification he did recently was perfect. Is that so? I almost blurted out that I was the one who did that job, but I forced a polite smile to avoid stirring up any trouble. Jack, I heard you skipped cleaning rule the other day and took a break instead. Mike was complaining about it. What? I didn't do that. He said he didn't want to, but you glared at him, and he had no choice but to do it. Hey, please be nice to the new guy. No, I didn't do anything like that. I was baffled by this baseless accusation, but my boss laughed it off. I thought it must be something serious for you to slack off. I'll let it slide, but don't push your work onto others. And with that, he waved his hand and walked away. Maybe if I had spoken up then, I could have prevented what happened later. But I didn't want to cause trouble for the company that had hired someone like me. Not exactly stellar. So I kept my complaints about him to myself. But it seemed like my patience was reaching its limit. And so, half a year had passed since Mike joined our company. Today, I finished work early for a change and went home to enjoy some drinks with my buddy, Adam, whom I hadn't seen in a while. Adam and I go way back to elementary school. Unlike me, he's not only smart but also exceptionally handsome, fitting the so-called good-looking guy category. It's always been a mystery to me why someone like him would hang out with a gorilla-like guy like me. We were catching up on each other's lives and venting about work when the conversation shifted to recent TV shows and eventually drifted into talks about love. That's when my phone pinged with a notification. It was a message from Mike, intruding on our good time. Reluctantly, I opened the message. Set up a party for singles and invite girls. You know what'll happen if you don't listen, right? Don't forget it. I'm doing by giving someone useless like you work. Make sure you bring some real beauties. I couldn't fathom his thought process, but I never expected such an outrageous request outside of work. As I was grappling with this, Adam, sensing the serious mood, peeked at my phone. Whoa, what's with this ridiculously outdated email? Who's Mike? The guy I mentioned before. The new guy who acts all high and mighty, right? I thought he sounded bad just from your stories, but this is beyond my imagination. I gave her a smile and nodded, then poured out everything I'd been holding back about Mike's unreasonable demands and his habit of pushing work onto me. Adam listened intently, his gaze shifting to the continuous stream of messages from Mike demanding the setup of party for singles. Hey, answer the phone, quick. Adam handed me the phone with an urgent tone. Looking at my phone screen in confusion, I saw Mike's name displayed. Hello. Hey, you've got some nerve ignoring my text. I was just about to reply to your message. I chuckled inwardly at my own quick excuse. Hurry up and reply, salary thief. You're only good for menial tasks, so when someone tells you something, done it ASAP. He sounded louder than usual, maybe drunk. Adam, sitting next to me, could clearly hear everything. I signaled an apology to him with my eyes and gestures while listening to Mike's rant with a feeling of disgust. Hey, aren't you going to respond? This is why I can't stand high school grads. Jess, I'm listening. So, are you going to do it or not? It's hard to prepare something like that on such short notice. Man, you are so useless. Then Adam gestured to hand over the phone, so I said, "One moment, please," and passed the phone to him. Hello, I'm Jack's friend Adam. You're Mike, right? Huh? Who are you? I know it's a bit forward of me to say this, but if it's all right with you, I can set up the party. What are you talking about? Mike sounded puzzled but also somewhat pleased. Jack has told me how much you've helped him. As his friend, I'd be happy to help out. Mike seemed to ponder for a moment before responding. I can expect something good then. Yes, I'm known as a specialist on organizing such a party. I'll gather an excellent group to ensure your satisfaction, Mike. Mike, seemingly pleased, said, "Oh, that sounds exciting. I'll look forward to your skills then, Adam. I'm counting on you. Please do look forward to it. He's got a good friend there. See you on the day." With that, Mike hung up, sounding satisfied. Hey, are you sure about this? Making such a quick promise. It's okay. Besides, I want to meet this Mike guy just once. Adam said this while sipping his beer, and his eyes hint at some plan in the making. Thus, thanks to Adam's suggestion, the party for Mike was set up. He told me to just enjoy it as a participant, leaving all the arrangements, from the venue to inviting people, to him. Adam had a wide network from his student days and had organized many parties, earning high praise and resulting in several couples getting together. Yet, Adam himself hadn't found that special someone. Hoping for the happiness of such a thoughtful friend, like Jack, headed to work with heavy steps. Then the day of the party arrived. Most of the members were familiar faces, friends of Adam and, therefore, of mine, making it feel more like a casual gathering with old buddies. Exchanging jokes and greetings with friends I hadn't seen in a while. We all laughed over silly stories. Though work had kept me away from such gatherings, this felt like a happy throwback to old times. But being used to a more masculine environment, I felt a bit out of place in such a lively setting. Jack, are you nervous? Well, it's been a while since I've been somewhere this lively. Adam. A woman approached Adam and started a conversation with him, leaving me sipping my beer and looking around. True to Adam's reputation, the place seemed to be filled with good-looking people, making me wonder if I was out of place. As I was lost in these thoughts, "You're Jack, right?" A woman with curly black hair approached me. "Hi, yes, I'm Adam's friend, Jack." She smiled as if relieved. "I was surprised to hear your name." As she extended her hand, I awkwardly offered mine. She shook it vigorously, saying, "Thank you. I've always admired you." Thanks." Her words left me flustered, unable to say much else. "Sorry, what was your name again?" "Ashley." With so many beautiful people around, it's no surprise you forgot. "Ashley, have we met before?" "Yes, I've seen you with Adam a few times but never had the chance to talk. I'm glad I came today." "That's great. Let's just relax and enjoy." As we were enjoying a relaxed conversation, "Hey there, everyone. Looks like it's quite the party." Mike, with more energy than anyone else, arrived waving his hands as if he were a superstar. He had put effort into his appearance, styling his hair too much. His choice of clothing was peculiar, a red shirt paired with baggy, wide-legged pants. He must have thought he was the most stylish person there, but upon closer inspection, his shirt was wrinkled, and his belly hung over the waist of his pants. The crowd seemed startled by his look, some barely suppressing their laughter while others were clearly put off. However, Mike, oblivious to their reactions, approached confidently. "Nice to meet you all. I'm Mike. Maybe you've been talking about me." "Probably not." Unfazed by the turn-off reaction from the women, he cheerfully started eating, his mood escalating with each drink. "Anyway, this party is a hit, mainly because of the excellent selection of people. Adam, right? You've exceeded my expectations." "Well, you are practically the star of the show, Mike." "Right, Jack?" Yeah. You know him, Jack." Ashley leaned into a whisper. "Yeah, he's a colleague from work. He seems quite unique." Her tactful way of speaking made it clear she chose words not to offend me. Then Mike turned towards us. "Oh, there's a cute girl here, approaching us," he said. "Nice to meet you. I'm Mike. What's your name?" Ashley was visibly flustered by his sudden approach. Hi, Jack, can you?" she said, giving me a look that seemed to plead for help. But Mike, noticing our discomfort, raised his voice. "Hey, don't ignore me. And Jack, move out of the way." With that, he lightly kicked my chair. Sorry about that, but now the pest is gone, right? This guy's really hopeless. But me, on the other hand, Mike, without any hint of embarrassment, loudly boasted about how indispensable he was at the company, claiming to be a natural-born genius with a perfect life. At the company, I'm like the go-to guy. Just recently, they wanted me for this huge project, you know. They even picked me, though I've just joined recently. I would have loved to take it, but I'm just too busy. Right, Jack? Yeah, sure. The project was real, but I'd never heard about Mike being chosen for it. The ladies can't help but stare at me. I guess I'm just too irresistible. Isn't it because your outfit's a bit odd? A woman boldly said to Mike. Everyone was fed up with his boasting. The comment instantly soured Mike's mood. With him, you never knew what he might do next. As his co-worker, I had to maintain a relationship with him. Causing trouble here could lead to more issues later. Come on, everyone has their own style. I tried to defuse the situation, but Mike, ignoring me, pressed onto it. Ashley, you don't think my outfit's weird, do you? Ashley was visibly uncomfortable. You know, Ashley, you're really cute. You're totally my type. He kept moving closer. You're a bit too close. Come on, let's get along. Please, stop. I stood up, trying to distance her from him, but Mike was relentless. Mike, she's clearly uncomfortable. I reached out to lightly grab his arm. Ow. I hadn't meant to grip hard, but it seemed I did. Oh, you. He glared at me, rubbing his arm. Just as I thought. Muscle brain jerk. Ha. What did you just say? I'm going to say it clearly today. You're not cut out for your current job. I'm outstanding, so I can tell. High school grads just don't make it as professionals. And I heard about it. Mike showed a malicious grin. Because of your appearance, some contracts fell through, right? You're just a harm for the company. I'm telling you, quit before you cause more trouble. You're still young. There are plenty of other chances out there. Hearing Mike's continuous slander was too much for me. But I had endured such things at work countless times. I thought if I let him speak, he would eventually stop, so I tried to ignore him. That's when the others intervened. I have no idea about how talented you are, but bad-mouthing others is wrong. Seriously, judging people by their looks is the worst. Talking bad about a friend is just mean. It seemed like everyone had reached their breaking point and began voicing their long-held frustrations. The atmosphere got tense, and Mike started arguing back. You guys don't understand because you're his friends. Have you actually seen how terrible he is at his job? Suddenly, from the back, a voice shouted, Hey, I can't just stand it anymore. Turning towards the loud voice, I saw a younger colleague, known for his good looks, standing with crossed arms in an intense glare. Despite his gentle appearance, his biceps were bulging through his t-shirt, and he looked seriously formidable. Mike was at a loss for words. Adam also joined in. Do you even understand what you're talking about? What do you mean? About Jack? It's okay, right, Jack? I can't stand to see you being treated like this anymore. Then Adam, standing in front of a trembling Mike, said, Jack here used to be a notorious troublemaker around these parts. A troublemaker. He used to ride bikes and get into fights all the time. Never lost either. No way. Mike's eyes darted around, clearly unsettled. So why don't you fight back? With all this talk, wouldn't a punch be expected? I decided not to resort to violence anymore. Looking at Mike, I began to speak about my past. My family was really poor, struggling just to get by. My parents were always working, so I don't have many memories of them spending time with them. That probably made me feel lonely as a kid. There was no point in being home where no one was around, and being serious about life started to seem pointless. I recounted my distant childhood, piece by piece. I had been good at judo and was encouraged to attend high school on a judo scholarship, but my family couldn't afford the private school fees despite our dire financial situation. There were student loans available, but my parents didn't want to accumulate more debt, so I ended up attending a local high school with one of the lowest average scores, thanks to government education support. But by then, I had given up on judo and any hope of a fun high school life. From there, I spiraled into delinquency. I went to high school, but I didn't hesitate to throw down anyone who rubbed me the wrong way. even if it was a teacher or an older student. Naturally, most of my classmates knew me from childhood and were shocked at my transformation. There was a time when they even kept their distance from me. A guy like me had no chance at a decent life. But then, my parents, who had been working tirelessly for years, suddenly passed away one after the other. I was their only child, leaving me completely alone in the world. I thought it was punishment for my past misdeeds. Surely, people would look down on me, thinking I got what I deserved. Contrary to my expectations, the friends and their parents who had cherished me stepped in to help. At first, I was too embarrassed to accept their kindness. I once asked Adam why they all helped a lost cause like me. "Hey, why do you think everyone's helping a hopeless guy like me?" He replied casually, "Even if you turned bad, everyone knows you're a kind-hearted guy, Jack. Remember when you single-handedly confronted those seniors who threw stones at me? Sure, you're unstoppable when you start a fight, but it's always with those who really deserve it. You've never laid a hand on friends or women. In fact, you were always there to protect and be kind to us. Everyone knows that." Jack here realized he needed to change. Despite having missed a lot of school, he worked incredibly hard. He repeated a year but never resorted to violence, no matter how much others mocked him. He found his own path, worked day jobs and got skills, and now he's a respected engineer. I'm proud to be his friend, someone who's kinder and more hard-working than anyone. "I feel the same way," another friend chimed in. "Jack was there for me during tough times," said another. "There's no way such a guy could be useless. He's nothing like you, who's nothing but mean." I felt tears welling up from the support of my friends. They really saw and appreciated my efforts. But Mike stammered. He always just nodded silently, looking scared. "Are you really that strong?" His question seemed to challenge or doubt me, prompting an impulsive response. "Should I prove it now?" Mike let out a high-pitched yelp and, looking terrified, stumbled his way out of the venue. That serves him right. He's the worst. Totally ruined the vibe. "Hey, let's start drinking again." "Hey, bring out your best drinks and food, please." "Sure, with pleasure." My younger colleague, who had sternly reprimanded Mike, returned to the kitchen with a cheerful bounce in his step. Ashley said, turning to me and bowing her head. "Thank you for earlier." "No problem. Are you okay?" "Yes." I was just a bit startled. Her sparkling eyes and the pink shimmer that lit up with each blink made my heart race. "Could we maybe exchange number?" "Of course," I replied eagerly. Thus, what was supposed to be a party for Mike turned into a fun and lively gathering with friends, lasting into the late hours. Needless to say, I was left with a hangover the next day. After that incident, Mike stopped his snide remarks and jeers toward me. Every time he saw me, he acted nervously and avoided any conversation. Mike initially talked big and tried to impress, but he wasn't actually good at his job. As this became apparent, people around him started keeping their distance. He ended up completely isolated. Since I only interacted with him during projects, I hardly ever spoke with him, and eventually, I stopped seeing him around. One day, while having lunch, my boss approached me. "By the way, about Mike. Yes, he's been absent a lot lately, hasn't he?" "Actually, he quit." "Quit? When did that happen?" "Yeah, I was surprised too." The boss then shared some shocking details. Mike had been trying to show how smart he is, but his work performance was terribly poor. When he used to push his work onto me, his shortcomings were hidden. But when that stopped, he had to do it himself. His mistakes began piling up, and the systems he worked on were full of holes, leading to client complaints. I wondered if he really was the competent employee he claimed to be. When I looked into his background, I found most of what he said in his interview were lies. At his previous company, he was assigned to the system department but mainly did menial tasks and phone answering, barely involved in system design or operation. No wonder he looked puzzled when discussing technical terms. So, our company continues as usual, and I'm busy with my usual deadlines. But there's been a pleasant change in my private life. I've been getting along well with Ashley, whom I exchanged contacts with that time. We've been out for meals a few times, and she shared a surprising story. "When I was a kid, I once had a fight with my sibling and cried. You were the one who comforted me. I did not remember at all, but it seemed I had spoken to her when she was a little girl crying over a sibling fight. She never forgot the kind older boy who comforted her. In middle school, she saw me in a judo uniform and recognized me instantly. I knew it was you who helped me, and you were so cool that I started to be into you. She opened up about these memories and her feelings for me. In college, she met a friend of Adam's and heard about me through them. I thought it was destiny. So when I heard about the party, I decided to come, and there you were. It all made sense why she was so excited to see me. I'm grateful you've thought of me for so long. Thank you. I'm so happy we could see each other at that time, and now we have a good time together. Our journey together had just begun. I often wondered why I was the only one with such bad luck, and blamed my circumstances many times. I had given up on life and caused trouble for many people, but thanks to friends who never left me alone, I managed to turn things around before it was too late. If my parents could see me now, they would surely be happy. I want to continue cherishing these feelings and walk a happy life with the important people who brought us together.